Hi, I'm Carole Brewer, and I'm just blessed to be with you today to share with you some of my time management processes that I do as a singer. So, have you ever been asked to sing for an event or something that you're going to be preparing for, and just wondering, gosh, how do I portion out my time? I mean, sometimes we spend so much time with our speaking prep that maybe the song is kind of a last minute thing, and we're not allowing ourselves maybe not enough time to really get that song as ready as our message is. And so here's my timeline. It's a concert tested recipe that I've been using for many, many years in memorizing a song. And hopefully you have 4 or 5 weeks or more from on your schedule so that you know that that song is coming up as you're working on your message too. The song is really, really important. It's words on music. I call it the breeze on which the gospel can soar. And so you're going to want to think about that as you're planning ahead. Let's say you have 4 to 5 weeks ahead of time, and as you're planning your message, you want to make sure that your song enhances that message, supports that message. And so you're going to want to be really careful about the song selection in the first place, making sure that it's a key that shows what you can sing well and not a key that shows what you can't do. So if you aren't able to transpose the key, or someone isn't able to do that for you, that might not be the right song for you. That may not work well for you, even if you love that song. I've been there myself, so I understand how that feels. So you want to make sure that it supports the message and that it's a great key for you. And as you select tracks, if you're using a music track rather than live accompaniment, make sure you try to find a track that has the high, medium, and low voice options. That's the best way to, that's the ideal, because you can choose one of those, and one of those keys will be just great for you. Less options means less chance to maybe get it just right for you. So do consider that as you're carefully selecting a track, and then listen to the quality of the track as well, because you want to make sure it sounds great and doesn't have sort of a overly synthesized sound. You want some really pretty music behind you. So keep that in mind as well. You want to first of all focus on the melody. The melody is the difference between just speaking the song and singing the song. You're going to want to focus on the pitch. You want to think about the rhythm of the song. So try singing that song on a la, 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 la. And I've chosen Jesus Loves Me. Now, you might think that's a children's song, and it has been in the last century, I guess, used as a children's song. But do you know that it was actually written during the Civil War? And it has many verses, and I've chosen one of the verses that we are not so familiar with. But again, we're going to focus on melody and way before the lyrics. So let's just do that for now, and I'm going to demonstrate that you might want to just do it on a la or an ah, but making sure that pitch is really accurate. La 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 la. 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 And you want to make sure as you're learning, it could have little inflections in it. La 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 la. Or whatever you want to make it sound like your song. Work on that now. Just work on the melody first. And then after you get that down, maybe you might spend a week on that, phrasing and getting the rhythm right. And of course, wherever there's a rest in the song, a break between phrases, that's your time to breathe. So we need tons of air when we sing well. So those are the things that you'll be working on first, the melody. So then, how about memorizing the lyrics? That is such a challenge. I've heard so many people say, I just can't memorize. And here is the way that I do it, and I hope this will help you as well. You're going to want to keep that melody really solid in your mind, but then you could work on the words separately. Separately means that you actually can physically write them out, all the lyrics, even if they're on a printed page. You could write them out on a physical page, or you can type them out on your computer, print it out for yourself. type it out on your phone, maybe on a notepad. Put it someplace where you're actually inputting those individual words, because that's really going to accelerate your ability to memorize. Then you want to take that, your phone, or take your printed sheet of paper, wherever you go. Wherever you go, on the seat of your car, when you're at the stoplight, you can kind of glance down there and look at the lyrics. You're waiting in the dentist's office. Wherever you go, you want to memorize those lyrics over and over again. Go one line at a time, one or two lines at a time, one verse at a time. Maybe one verse and then the chorus. And maybe one week just spend on one verse and chorus. Wherever you go, you're thinking about those lyrics. The next week, maybe the second week, add the second verse in and then the chorus again. So you're going to allow yourself an absolute minimum of 2 weeks before your presentation to have your song completely memorized. One of the best ways that I memorize is to actually read those lyrics or go over those lyrics in my mind right before I go to sleep, because that will really help solidify that in my mind. And I hope that helps you too. So it's just taking it, how do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time, right? So one verse at a time, a few lines at a time. Get that solid before you go on to the next verse or the middle section. And then those words will come to you. You want them to flow, because remember, we don't just sing the song, we are the song. So we want that song to be a part of us, to be flowing through our blood vessels, so that we are just, it just flows out of it. Like Marnie Swedberg says, flow through vessel. We want our song to flow through as well. And so those are the ways that I memorize, because artistry doesn't begin until all that happens first. We know the melody, we're able to sing it on pitch, great rhythm, and then we know the lyrics. Because then you want to, at your last part of managing your time and planning to prepare your song, you want to make sure that you're looking at each phrase, you're dramatizing, you're become an actor, you're acting out, you're portraying the message of that song. That can't happen unless it's memorized. We're just stuck on words, and that we're not really being an effective communicator. So those last 2 weeks, you're going to be spending some time, along with preparing your message, spending your time really portraying, thinking clearly. And this is the verse that I've chosen out of Yes, Jesus Loves Me. And I love this verse because it just shows the heart of the people in the Civil War. The writer of the song, Anna Warner is her name, and she wrote this song. And you think about the time of extreme adversity, just the difficulties of being in war. And here she writes this beautiful verse. Jesus loves me, he will stay close beside me all the way. Thou hast bled and died for me, I will henceforth live for thee. And sing it with me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so. Now let's review. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you choose the great key that will make your voice sound the best. And that's going to take a little research in itself. And if it's not, even if you love the song, not in your best key for you, I think you need to move on to another song. It's really important that you sound your best when you're delivering and doing a presentation. Doesn't matter when we're on our own, but it does matter. And you know, it says make a joyful noise in heaven, right? That's for heaven. But here it does count, so you want to make sure it does show your best. And the key will help that with that immensely. So that's your first job. Second job is, once you choose that song, remember the melody first. Make sure you get the beginnings, the endings, how you're going to end that song. Make sure you're watching your pitch, your rhythm, your breathing, all the aspects that make it different from speaking. It's going to be a beautiful song when you prepare your melody well. Then we have the lyrics. That's the difference between being an instrumentalist and a singer, right? We have words, and those words have to be input over and over again, that repetition, so that we're remembering well. And one of the ways that I do it is one verse at a time, one chorus, maybe 1 week on that. The second week, we're going to do the second chorus or the second verse, however you split it up, but just do one section at a time, get that memorized, and the next one, the next one. It just works better that way, and that will help you. Write it out, type it out, print it out, handwrite it, however you input best on your phone. Take it with you wherever you go, and going over and over. Another point is right before you go to sleep. Great to go over those lyrics then. You might wake up in the middle of the night. I do that sometimes, and that just means you can go over it some more. So that's how I memorize. I hope that will help you. So then when you have that and your lyric sheet everywhere, you have gone over it, that's when your artistry begins. When you have that song down pat, it flows out, and your words are completely memorized. And then that's when you can work on your artistry, your expressions in the song, your special vocal inflections that just make it your song. It doesn't have to sound exactly like anybody else, it's your song. And then remember that no two phrases in the song should sound exactly the same. You might want to do your first verse a little bit differently than your second verse, and so on. Just make each verse a little bit special. Make it yours. It's your solo. It's your song. If you're doing classical, that's another story. You're pretty locked in. But anything contemporary, that is your song when you have a chance to do it as a solo. And so that's your chance to really bless others with your own personality, your own input. And so keeping in mind that you want to take the liberty to vary the melody as well. I call it kind of fudging. If, say, you've selected a song and you have a track, but it's a little bit too high at the end, or maybe it's a little too low, I just do it in that whatever key is the most comfortable for you. So if you might take a song at the end, when I demonstrated Jesus Loves Me, maybe you go, yes, Jesus loves me, and maybe that's a little high for you. So you might go, yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. So you can just change it a bit, and that again takes some work, and it takes time to do that. But again, you're going to make that song yours, and it will bless others. Also might make their ear perk up a little bit, like, oh, that's a little different than I'm used to hearing. And that's a good thing. That can be a good thing. So God bless you as you're working on that. So I hope my tips for memorizing and having a timeline that can help you prepare, I hope it's been a blessing for you. These are some tips that I offer in my book, Cooking Up a Song. It's available on Amazon because it's been on there for several years, so you can get it for a song, really inexpensive. I hope it will bless you as you pick this book up. I'm Carole Brewer again. My website's carolebrewer.com. That's CaroleBrewer.com. Go there, connect with me, but remember, number one, follow Jesus. God bless you and have a great day.